Hello everybody, this is Link 2012. I'm going to go over most of the new content for Raid 5 and just explain what the implications of it are, what's good, what's not so good, what are some of the new combinations that will be possible. I am currently still working on updating my calculator, among many things, so you're not going to see the most accurate information right now. That paired with the fact that I want to stream Descent this week as well means that, I probably won't get around to that, is what I'm saying. First of all, we do have a new Mythic Fusion. This new Mythic Fusion has a small amount of quadruple strike as well as some empower. Those of you who know me know that I am not a fan of empower quadruple strike. I'm not a big fan of that either. But it is better than nothing, and this guy probably is the most powerful in terms of DPS of all familiars. So that's pretty cool. Now, of course, you can go plug that into my calculator to figure out for sure. The thing that I like about this new fusion is that he's a healer. So, despite his flaws here, he makes up for that with having a huge healing capability. And power is not as bad as crit damage, by the way. So this fusion is still much better than Wembo, who is hit and miss. Not quite as good as Welcome, who's very consistent. But hey, yeah, he's a good guy. He also has damage weakest and damage random. Both those things are marvelous. I think he might have another skill, but those are the main highlights here. Right, so if we go over here, people have been posting all the new sets, mythics, etc. We're going to go down these piece by piece. So in the raid, we have this set. This set is the Nightwalker. Nightwalker is essentially the tank set. So for those of you tanks, it will be easy for you to obtain your set in this raid. This set is the ring, the main hand, the neck, the offhand. So this you can still pair with, this is a staff, by the way, which is nice. So you'll actually get some healing in there. You'll also be able to pair this with, let me see here, you'll be able to pair this with some of the mythics that we'll talk about later on. You'll also be able to pair this with 2 out of 4 obliteration if you really want to. Now, it's of course assuming you want to use this full set, which I advise you do, I think. I don't really see why you wouldn't go for 4 out of 4 after you get 2. So the abilities for this are, the first, when you get 2 pieces, you will get 2% absorb, 3 pieces. When you go below 50% health for the first time, you'll get full shield, which is really, really powerful. Essentially, drastically increases your longevity. Really, really helpful for progressing in the game, for doing raid bosses, for doing trials, trying to push higher trials in Gauntlet. Really all around, that's a really interesting ability that has a lot of potential there. It's not necessarily something you can calculate into things though. And it's a bit risky considering this last ability, which is gain 15% damage reduction while shielded. So I don't personally think that this is as good as Obliteration, because Obliteration, most of the time, you're going to have all your teammates alive, so you're going to be getting that 15% reduction. For fully shielding, you're really going to have to change up your gameplay tactics in order to utilize that. Now, it is, so, I don't know, I wish it was buffed a little bit. I think it should be a little bit more than 15%, but we'll have to see how it plays out. It's an easy tier 8, you don't have to actually upgrade Obliteration, which is nice, and you can pair it with some of these other mythics. The thing about this set, about Nightwalker, is that it really focuses on you, so it doesn't give benefits to your teammates. Now, I don't know about you, I prefer my entire team to be benefiting from the set. I like that 5% damage, 5% damage reduction that Obliteration gives me, but at the same time, this extra longevity and extra ability to mitigate damage might be handy enough. We'll see. I'll have to run the numbers later on. But for now, it's still pretty good. Still pretty good for a set, and it's got that staff, which is nice. Right, so the Trial/Gauntlet set is the interesting one. This one is actually the healing set, meaning that it is possible for us healers to still get in on this game. And actually, this is a really, really awesome set here. And I'll explain why. The interesting thing about it is that its main hand is a sword, but it has a healing skill, actually. So you can still get those heals despite having a sword, which already has some really nice abilities. The main advantage of the staff in this game is that it allows you to heal. That is the reason why it doesn't have any other good skills with it besides damage weakest. You don't have a lot of options there. But with the Yak Blade, you can target the first 3 and you can heal. That's a big deal, in my opinion. So very interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully getting that in the future. The other pieces to this are the offhand, the head, and the body. So this means that we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's talk about the bonuses first before we talk about the pieces individually. So the first is you gain 5% heal and rage. Second is you gain 15% extra heals. And then number 4, you automatically prevent the first death upon your team. So really, in order to get the full effect of this, I would go 3 out of 4. The fourth one, automatically prevent the first death. That's basically Maru 4 out of 4, except you don't have to use the skill, which is awesome. Like, except it doesn't heal quite as much. So this is not going to actually increase their health. It's just going to prevent them from going down to 0, which is nice. It's nice. I personally think it's better than the Maru combination because you have to store up all that SP, which is a pain in the butt. 5% healing and rage is really not that great. Really, really not that great, to be honest with you. The only reassuring aspect to getting Luminary 2 out of 4 is that there are some things here in this update that will allow you to gain extra SP, meaning that you will be taking advantage of that in rage all the time. However, normally you're really only getting 2.5% damage in rage. That's an increase of 2.5% damage. Is that really worth it? Not really, considering some of these other sets, they do 5% damage right off the bat, 4% damage right off the bat estimated. So it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. The nice thing is that you can convert that back into healing though, which is nice, and you can convert that into shields too. Number 3, really, I would, if I had all the time in the world, I would get 3 out of 4 with this. I'd get 2 out of 4 Maru, and then there's a mythic later on that we'll discuss that also gives some pretty snazzy effects with healing. It's actually really overpowered in my opinion. I'm not complaining, but it's very powerful, which is good because healers haven't really been a viable class. The reason I really like 3 out of 4 is essentially gives the Lunar Guardian bonus. So really, it is worth it to go 3 out of 4. You can't get Lunar Guardian with this, unfortunately, so you're going to have to pair it with Maru, you're going to have to pair it with other stuff, but as I'll show you, the other options are still phenomenal. Alright, so that's the Trial/Gauntlet set, so you'll be able to get that after getting a few max tier 8s, assuming you already have max tier 7 legendaries. We got all these cool materials here, I won't spend too much on this. We just got essences for all the different things. Essences do drop with legendaries, so from here on out you will be able to craft set items from just obtaining legendaries in dungeons, which is pretty cool. You need to exchange 10 legendaries, but you'll still get there. I don't know about my tactic personally on this one. I would say just save up for the sets, to be honest, and then from there upgrade those, because you're going to have to exchange your normal stuff somewhere along the line, so you might as well spend it on getting this set. Also, the amount of material you will get, normal legendary material from exchanging those legendaries, will allow you to fully upgrade that set when you get to that point, or nearly fully upgrade that set once you get to that point. Alright, of course reforging is a pain in the butt. We have to use 2 materials of everything. It's really, I'm not sure I've voiced this on my videos before, but I do think that they should decrease the cost of reforging things higher, because this is only possible for the most extreme situations with players that have everything already. Alright, so moving on to the world boss here. The world boss, they've got some really, really good DPS sets in this update, as well as an interesting set here that we haven't seen anything with the likes of before. For the world boss set, I think this one is Netherworld. I want to say Netherworld. I can't be completely sure though. No, this is actually Ollard. Yeah, it says right there. Okay. So this set is Agony. Agony, all of these have 4 pieces, which is pretty cool. The first ability is you and nearby teammates gain 3% increased damage, which is really, really awesome because that's 9% increased damage to your team, which is a pretty big deal in my opinion, especially considering, again, 2 out of 4 conduction gives you 5% damage to projectiles. So that's about 4% increase in damage. That's a pretty big deal to gain this much. And then 3 out of 4 you and nearby teammates gain 10% SP regeneration. That is massive. I cannot tell you how massive that is, because that is 30% more SP for your team. Not overall, but just objectively. And I'm looking forward to plugging that into my calculator and seeing what potential that has. But my initial impression is that this will really offer potential for builds that are going to try to utilize using lots of SP, especially considering what this next set will give us here. But 4 out of 4, 9% chance for projectiles to ricochet to a nearby enemy. Really good skill. The only time you get that is with Talds. No, not Talds. Treadger's Call. That's what it is. Treadger's Call. So this set here has a neck and main hand. Neck, main hand, offhand, head. So I don't know what you can still pair that with. Let me actually bring up the heroes here. So you'll be using up your head, so you'll still have your body and your ring. So you could still theoretically use conduction. You could still, what else could you do with that? I don't know about all the possibilities there. There are some nice mythics that you can put in those slots too, which is nice. But anyways, this is a really great set. I'm really looking forward to people using this and benefiting their entire team from it. However, you're not going to get the full benefit if nobody in your team uses this world boss set from the Netherworld. This is the Inferno set and is just phenomenal. 2 out of 4, you gain 4% Empower, which is pretty good. I don't think it's as good as the previous 2 out of 4, which gives teammates beside you 3% damage too. And of course that stacks differently than Empower. It stacks better than Empower, actually, because it's objective, like it's always going to happen, and it's multiplied to everything else. 3 out of 4 gives you 20% chance for skills not to spend SP. Again, really great potential with utilizing that SP in the future. And 4 out of 4 gives you skills that cost SP deal 20% increased damage. This is a really, really big deal. SP already has the potential, like even without this 4 out of 4, to be worthwhile investing in. So to increase the damage by 20%. Alone, that's increasing your damage output by more than 10%. The reason that is because you're already using SP 10% of the time, and those skills are always doing more damage than your default. So that 20% is going to be huge deal. This is going to be the new meta. I'm calling it. The only thing that can compare to it is Conduction. Conduction gives you that was 30% damage when there's only one teammate left. So that is comparable to this. But still, you gain all that extra SP. I don't know. It's going to be comparable to Conduction. I don't know if this is... I need to run the numbers later on. Again, I'm still working on updating my calculator fully. This set here uses the neck, the body, the head, and the offhand, meaning that you still have the ring and the main hand. So say you want to use this. So basically it's allowing you to get that 20% increased SP damage with any weapon you want. So say you want to use some of the new weapons that we're going to go over here. You can use that. Say you want to use Yak Blade, you can use that. This could actually make a decent healing set because you gain 20% increased heals. I'm not sure if it's going to be as good as using that healing set combination though, which we'll go over just a little bit more in depth here. Alright, so now we move on to the mythics. There is some mythics that were data mined because we haven't currently obtained all of them. I'll go over those here. Actually, let's go over those first. There's some, I'll show you them down here as well though. So the first mythic item gives you 2% deflect. It's a body. That's going to be a good combination with the tank set up here. What's it called again? Nightwalker. So this doesn't have a body, as you can see, so you can get that extra deflect in there. You can also potentially gain the head down here, which we'll look at, which is really good. I highly recommend this one. Now I'll explain why in a bit. The second mythic item gives 5% increased damage and 5% increased damage taken. So it's basically like a Bushio. It's a body slot, meaning that it would be helpful with the Agony, because Agony does not utilize the body slot. It's a good balance, I'd say. Bushio was nice. It was pretty meta at the time. It'd be interesting to see. You can't stack this with Bushio, ironically, because Bushio used the body. So, or it's Bushido, I don't know. Either way. Mythic item number 3, The Shadow says he doesn't understand this item, but it does say that it gives some AoE shield to your team on the turn start. That sounds like it's going to be insanely powerful, and it's for the ring, meaning that you can use it with a lot of these DPS combinations here. The reason that's powerful is that it'll give your team a lot of protection. So it's going to be super helpful for PvP, super helpful for World Boss, maybe even dandy for raids and whatnot, where you're going into the boss, so you just need that extra little bit of shield to keep your team alive. Of course, it also will work out with, again, Nightwalker, because you need that extra shield in order to get that extra damage reduction. The nice thing, I think a lot of the new staffs, by the way, they have shielding skills. I think it's only self-shielding, so maybe it's not that great, but maybe even the Nightwalker set has self-shield, and in that case, you know, maybe it will be more viable, especially on manual. Alright, so the last few mythics here, and of course the ancient item, we'll go over. Alright, so Nemesis is the one that most players are using right now that already have max tier 8 stuff, which is crazy. It gives you 4% dual strike. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Dual strike isn't the best, isn't the worst bonus. 4% is a lot just for one mythic item. That's basically the same as 2 out of 4 conduction. Not really. I think it's a little bit worse than 2 out of 4 conduction. But still, that's only 1 slot instead of 2, so you can automatically see the difference there. Now, Comet Fell is another interesting one. It seems as though they're trying to focus on speed builds a little bit in this update, because Comet Fell is one of these examples where speed build is going to come in handy. With Comet Fell, you gain 1% quad strike. That is an increase of 3% damage, and that pretty much is going to stack with everything. So you're going to want to get that. Comet Fell, what is it? This is going to work great with the Inferno set because this does not have a main hand. You're going to be using SP all the time, so you're going to get those snazzy skills with Comet Fell. So Comet Fell, it's just great main hand, great mythic main hand. I don't know what skills. I think it's just the same as a regular sword, though. So it's not quite as good as Nemesis, but it's great because it can stack with those sets up there that don't have a main hand, or the one set Inferno, that is. Bedlam is the one I was talking about earlier with the healing. Blech. So if you're a healer, you really want Bedlam. Bedlam gives you 8% extra heals, 8% extra heals. That's a big deal. If we go for 3 out of 4, what's this thing called again? I'm still getting used to the names of these sets. If we get 3 out of 4 Luminacy, that'll give us 15% extra. Then you can get this 8% extra, which brings you up to, what would that be? 23% extra. And then you tack on the 2 out of 4 Maru, which is going to get you 10% shield, which is going to stack multiplicatively with that. So you're going to end up with, I'd say, 35% extra heals. That's a lot. That is a lot of extra heals, to be honest with you. So I'm really looking forward to getting some healers with that combination. I want to go with that combination, though I doubt I'll upgrade Maru to tier 8. It's just such a pain. Such a stinking pain. I might have enough ROM bits, but I doubt it. So we'll keep that in mind for much later. Bedlam is so hard to get, though. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to grab it. I do have Max Maru, by the way. I got that this week. I got really lucky with my rerolls. So next time you see me streaming, you're going to get that. Anyways, we got the Deflect, which we already talked about a little bit. That's going to stack. I'm just going to jump to the hood right here. While above 75% health, you have 5% increased evade. That is really good, seeing as tanks are usually above 75% health. You're not going to have that much when you're in a boss. But if you stack it with Nightwalker, it's going to give you that extra shielding. You're going to be able to get back up to that health, and you're going to continue benefiting from that 5%. That 5% is notably very, very effective. Not quite as effective as Bub, I'd say, which is, what, 2-3% absorb? If it's 3% absorb, it's always going to be better than Hood of Menace. But of course, you can't stack it with Nightwalker. You can't stack it with Obliteration. This you can't stack with Obliteration, of course, but it will be very useful with the new tank set. So Hood of Menace, marvelous addition, especially for those tanks who are more about longevity, not longevity, about damage mitigation. This also, of course, brings into play the relevance of using Talds and still using Seraphim's Grace, because with Seraphim's Grace, it really focuses on evade, so getting that extra little bit of evade is very helpful. Nebel-Eye is allegedly the worst mythic ever. Because, okay, so if you're getting mythics, let's be honest here, you're already going for sets, you probably already have sets, you probably already have mythics, you're not going to be having a lot of legendaries, and what this thing does is it gives you 1% extra damage for every legendary item equipped. The nice thing about this is that it does count pets and accessories, from what I can tell. It does not count enchants, it does not count runes, it does not count... It might count mounts. I'm not sure about that. I haven't tested that. But it doesn't count sets or mythics either. So if you're using the set, pet, and accessory, that's not going to help you. If you're using all those sets of mythics, like I said, you probably already have. It's not going to be that helpful. So we can assume that if you're a good player, you're already going to have that extra 2% from your pet and accessory. Then if you get another 2 legendary items, it might be helpful because that's 4%. But besides that isolated situation, typically this isn't going to be that great. It's an offhand too. Most of the sets utilize an offhand. So further making it not that great. I really hope that they buff this by allowing, say, runes and enchants to be part of it and maybe making it 0.5%. Because at that point you're getting like a 6% damage increase for sacrificing your set, which it would be a very interesting situation to increase consistency at the expense of, some special abilities. Alright, so the last item, which we currently don't actually know how to get, and I'll get into that here, is the Harvester. The Harvester comes from D3. D3 is, I want to say impossible to beat at this moment. The SSS-1 died on the first wave of enemies, and he still doesn't have it, and he's already got max tier 8 stuff. Again, SSS-1, 4,000 TS. Once you get max tier 8s, you should be around 2,500 TS. So none of us regular players are ever going to do that. Maybe the top 5, maybe the top 10 are going to have, a TS of 4,000 above. But even at 4,000 TS, SS1 still hasn't gotten through D3. This opens up, this interesting dilemma of maybe there's some secret to beating D3 that we just don't know about. And that's very exciting. We're going to have to come together as a community, look at all the hints in this little update, to try to figure out how to beat D3 and unlock the Harvester. The Harvester was data mined, that's how we know that it actually exists, and it uses the ancient material. This is an ancient weapon, as you can see, ancient main hand. So obviously it comes from that ancient material, which you get from that dungeon, from beating it. You also get 5 stat points. Now that's just saying, we're not sure how to obtain it currently, and I'm really excited about that, because I'm sure if there's a secret that most of us will be able to obtain it as soon as we figure out that secret. Still not sure though. Regardless, how effective is this weapon actually? I'm going to tell you it's really bad. Here's why. So, Ancient Main Hand gives you 1%, with one exception, okay, there's one exception to this. Ancient Main Hand has 1% chance to use a random skill for free at the start of each turn. Dude, that's so awesome! Because that counts everything. That counts your 4 SP skill, that counts your maybe your mount skill. That would be amazing if it counted your mount skill. So, and it stacks with everything. It stacks with dual strike and power, crit chance. It stacks with ricochet. All these beautiful things that will add to your damage. But here's the deal: Comet fell up here. It's just as reliable as the Harvester, and it's got 1% quad strike. That increases your damage by 3%. The Harvester doesn't increase your damage by 1%, of course, because that free skill, it could be something that does a lot more damage than your typical 0 SP skill. Let's just work with a very liberal amount and say that it will double your damage, which it won't. If it will double the amount of damage you use... Oh, wait a minute, I just thought of something. Okay, I'll come back to that. Then I'll give you 2% extra damage on top of everything, which is still not close to 3% damage on everything. The only nice thing about Harvester is that it might be able to increase your healing, because it might have a heal skill. If you use it with Unity, you might get the extra heals. And maybe if you... Okay, so here's what I just thought. What if you have Defibrillator? If you have Defibrillator, then you could... And you're a super speedy build, you'd be able to heal people up quite a bit, despite the fact that they might be dead. And that could be a potential plus. Then again, though, it's still the chance that it'll use that within the array of 6 skills, 6 skills is 1 in 5, so you're talking about 0.2% chance every turn you have, which is still absurdly small, not very reliable, not too useful in my opinion. So while the Harvester might seem really exciting to obtain, I really think they should buff it to 2 or 3%, because as it stands right now, it's not really that great. I can't wait to find out the skills for this, that way I can actually run the numbers and say, hey, this is how much it compares to Comet Fell, for instance. But yeah, if you're looking to get something, go for Comet Fell, don't go for Harvester. Harvester has the same amount of upgrades here. You see it has 4, it's going to give you the same amount of TS, 1,600 versus, 160 versus 160. Upgrades are going to probably be more expensive for the Harvester, so on and so forth. It's really just an interesting item, not necessarily a helpful item. So that's most of the stuff on the update. We still don't have too much in the way of tactics for the new raid. It seems very difficult, though as more players max out their tier 8 stuff, the lower level players will be able to catch up, and slowly but surely we'll all be able to do tier 8 probably. The interesting thing is that they've got target random, they've got target weakest, they've got target last, they've got target first 2. All the abilities that we've encountered so far in the previous raids are in raid 5, meaning that the tactics here are very interesting. You want like 2 baits, you want 1 bait, you want 2 tanks, you want a DPS, you maybe want a healer. We're not completely sure right now, or I'm not. I'm not, at least. What else is there to note? Other interesting, as you guys saw on the stream, there's only 2 dungeons with this update. I think they balanced a few things too. But in terms of new stuff, that's what we know. That's what we know on the sets. The mythics. I wanted to go over legendary fusions, but they haven't been published on the wiki yet. People are still taking their sweet time to do that. So unfortunately, we won't know for quite some time. Also, the bug. You guys might have heard on the release date that there was a bug where certain material that dropped from exchanging legendaries and sets and mythics could be used to craft sets from other raids, dungeons, etc. That bug was fixed, so there's no need to fear about that anymore. Although, those of you that did exchange your stuff, you've lost it. Granted, you guys probably have so much money and time, you don't have to worry. You'll get your tier 8 stuff in due time. Until then, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you found this video helpful and informative. Leave a dislike if you didn't. And keep making the most of your day.